Hey YouTube, Old Man Seth is checking in. Today we are going to go over how to change your server settings in V Rising if you've already managed to set one up. So initially when you start playing this game, one of the things you can do is change how much loot you can drop, whether or not you can teleport with items, how fast everything actually produces when it comes to a lot of your like refinery places in your castle. So a lot of folks don't realize that you can actually go back and change this already after you started one. So at the very beginning, we're going to take a look at this really fast. When you first dive into a playthrough of V Rising and you make your own private game, a lot of people do this. You can even do this with all of your other like setups as well, if you're hosting a public one or not. When you first start this, you have all these different modifiers. You can pick whether or not it's solo play, if it has a password, etc., etc. What a lot of people actually gloss over is the advanced game settings. Now, the advanced game settings is where you can really get in there and play around with a lot of how things will actually operate in your play of V Rising. So as you can see, teleport bound items. If we actually unclick that, when you're actually in the game, you're going to be able to teleport between the different vampire waygates, even if you have what's called a non-teleport item, correct? Other things that you can actually change in here is how much loot you can actually get when you kill an enemy, how much loot you get from your servants going out and doing their hunts, how much material you actually get when you basically knock down different materials like stone and stuff like that. Even blood essence can be changed with multipliers. So if you feel as if you're not getting enough loot from enemies, you can increase it to 5 times as much. You can actually reduce it to half as much, depending on really where you want to go with it. So these are all different values that when you first start a server in V Rising, you can actually manipulate. Once you start it, there's no way in the game to manipulate this. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the file. We're going to use Notepad++. So make sure if you don't have Notepad++ on your computer, go and download it right now. You can Google it very quickly, install that on your computer, and we're going to go over really quickly how you can actually dive into that and change all these values. For reference, I'm going to show you very quickly when I dive into this server what we actually get on the base settings. And then after that, we'll see very quickly how much we get after we've gone in and altered them. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right. Okay, so here we are in my castle. I want to show you all exactly what happens when you go out on regular base settings. This is the server that I made when I first bought the game and started streaming it. I've been running it at the base settings this entire time. I actually did just recently change them so I could actually get through a lot of this late game grind a little bit quicker. But I'm going to go out and we're going to show you really fast so you can all see exactly what happens when you're able to actually go in and change a lot of these values from the initial just never mess with the advanced game settings kind of setup that this game actually has listed for you. So what I'm going to actually show you really quick is we're producing a late game item right now in our loom called Ghost Yarn. Now, Ghost Yarn actually takes quite a bit of time. You can see I have about 15 seconds left right now, and we're going to wait for that to tick over. So we actually have a reference point for how long it takes for you to actually just make one of these items on a regular base setting server of V Rising. So it's going to click over. We're going to see that, unfortunately, we don't have enough material to start refining, so let's go ahead and try this again. Pop that over there. So it takes 2 minutes and 26 seconds for us to actually produce one piece of ghost yarn. This is going to be very important for later, but in the meantime, we're going to go out, we're going to kill some people, and I'm going to show you how much material we're going to get from killing them. So let me get into wolf form here, getting around a little bit quicker. This is something that I put in my previous V Rising tutorial. If you haven't seen that, 5 tips to actually get around faster or make your life easier in V Rising. This was one of them. Always turn into a wolf and run around in wolf form. It just makes your life a lot easier. You go a lot faster. Ideally, you just grab a horse. So we're going to run over here. We're going to check out. There should be somebody wandering around. We're going to drop them. We can even use this as a reference point. So let's say this blood rose, right? We get 10 blood roses whenever we knock one of those down. So after we're done editing the file that we're going to edit here in a bit, you're going to be able to see exactly how much more you get. So let's go ahead and kill these guys and we'll see what we get from them, right? Let's go ahead and kill them really quick. Not even going to worry about feeding. Drop these 2 really fast. And we can actually use this again as a reference point. So we kill these guys. There we go, we got them. So we're looking at 2 gem dust from killing one of them. We're looking at, what, 40 animal hide. It looks like 40 animal hide, 10 bone, 1 wool thread. We can even go over here and we can start knocking these things around, actually seeing what in the heck we're going to get out of some of these breakables really fast. Maybe we can drop something else. So we're looking at what looks like... No, I don't want to open that. I want to pick these up. I guess we're going to open it regardless. Let's take all that. It doesn't look like the game wants to give us those. So here we are. Is there anything in here? So there's 2 cloth. We can see that we get 2 cloth out of one of those. Now, we're doing this again as a control reference point so that after we're done editing the file that we're going to edit, you can all see exactly how much more you can get out of it, again, on a server that you've already started and you haven't adjusted those advanced setting values. I'm also going to show you really quickly what happens when you try to use a teleporter in this game and you have some of these other items. So normally in a base setting of V Rising, the only stuff that you can go through a teleporter with is usually stuff like your weapons, your fishing pole, stuff like that. A lot of this other stuff will not let you actually teleport. As you can see, the animal hide says cannot be teleported. Plant fiber cannot be teleported. Bone cannot be teleported. So there's a very big laundry list of stuff here that you can't actually teleport with. You can walk up to the teleporter and try to teleport, but it's going to say, hey, dummy, guess what? You can't do that. Nice try, stupid. And you're stuck. So if you're finding that you want to actually change that, whether you're on a PvE server, if you're on a PvP server, and you have control over that and you want to make it easier for you and your friends or anyone else on it, we're going to crack open this file and we're going to see right now that this can all change very, very quickly. So let's go ahead and do that, and you all have the tools at your disposal to make your lives a lot easier or harder if you'd like at your disposal. All right, here we are. We've dropped out of my game. We're going to go through all the steps you need to do to find this file and then how you're going to open it and edit it. So here we are. We are in our program files. What you need to do, first things first, we're going to go through this really quickly. You're going to want to find your Steam folder, and you're going to want to double click that. The next thing you're going to want to do is go to your Steam apps and double click that. Now, after you get to Steam apps, what you'll want to do from here is go to your common folder. Double click your common folder. Now you're going to see a list of all your different Steam games and you know what's going on with those. You're going to want to scroll down to V Rising, double click V Rising. The next one you're going to want to do is hit V Rising server, double click that. You're next going to want to go into V Rising server data, double click that. Go to your streaming assets, double click that. Go to your settings, double click that. And you'll finally get to the file that we need. The file that you want right here is the server game settings. This is what's going to allow you to change all of these settings retroactively. So again, if you didn't set all these when you initially set up the server, you can go in here, we can change around some of these values, and we'll dive back into the game here shortly so you can actually see how much it has actually changed things. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to that. Make sure that you have your Notepad++. Again, I brought it up earlier in the video. I'm going to bring it up again. Notepad++ is going to make your life so much easier on this one. So you're going to want to right-click on the server game settings, go to Edit with Notepad++, and you're going to bring over up this screen right here. And you can see already, this is all the stuff that you want to change. So as you're looking at it, you know, we want to be able to teleport all around the map, right? It doesn't matter what kind of equipment we have, doesn't matter what kind of materials we have. We want to be able to teleport between those waygates without even thinking about it. So what you want to do is go to teleport bound items. Now, teleport bound items true means that you're not going to be able to teleport with things like cotton and thread and animal hide and bones and things like that. So it's a really simple change. If you want to change something like that, if you want to do the opposite of what it was doing, we go to false. So we have that set up. Now we want to actually mess with how many materials all of the different enemies are actually dropping to us. So let's say we want the drop table modifier to not just be base. We actually want to get 3 times the amount of what they actually normally would. So we're going to change that 1 to a 3. Drop table on missions. So if we're using our minions to go out and get more materials for us, we want to make, 3 times more than what we normally would. So we're changing that 1 to a 3. Material yield modifier. So whenever a material drops, we want to get more out of that. We're going to change that to a 3. Blood essence, so on and so forth. So many different things you can actually change in this document. You can even make what is it? You can make durability drain, right? You can actually increase or decrease how much durability that your equipment, will lose as you're just going about your business, whether it's from dying or whether it's using it, whatever the case may be. You can make garlic stronger. You can make silver stronger. You can make the sun stronger, make it do more damage if you really want to make it a pain in your butt. There are so many things that you can actually do with this. So one of the other things I brought up was that ghost yarn. We saw that ghost yarn takes, 2 minutes and almost 40 seconds every time we make one of them, right? So we actually want that to be increased. We want it to go faster. So refinement rate modifier, right now it's base. If you actually have that, it will increase it. So if we made this 0.5, it would actually make it take longer. What we want to do is we want to make it go faster by, 1 time. So we're going to increase it by 2 times, and we'll actually see how much faster that's made once we save this and reload the game. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to do exactly that. Now make sure when you're done messing with all of these values, you make sure you go to the file, click on it, and make sure you hit save. After that, you're done with it. You can leave it up in case you want to play with it again sometime. But before we actually will see these changes, we are going to have to restart the game. So let's go ahead and do that really quickly as well. You'll see that I'm going to drag that out of here. I'm going to drag where we found that out of here. I'm going to hit exit, and I'm going to reboot it. And as soon as I'm done rebooting it, I will come back, and we're actually going to see how these values have increased and how much faster things are actually being made. All right, so here we are back. I've loaded up the server. All I have to do is click to go into it. I wanted to make sure that I showed you all that I wasn't messing around with this and that it was actually legitimate. So we're going to click in. You can see that we're still right by the teleporter we were at before when I illustrated that we couldn't teleport with those items. And hey, guess what? If you've done everything right, you're going to actually be able to look in your inventory, and you're going to be able to see already that it no longer says cannot be teleported. So we're going to be able to walk right over to this bad boy, hold it down, and lo and behold, we can teleport. No problem at all. Go to and fro wherever you want, take your materials with you, get back and forth. And the horse makes it easier to do this, obviously, if you can't teleport. But if you're on a PvE server, does it really matter? I'm actually of the opinion it really doesn't matter. So it's one of the reasons I actually wanted to be able to do this on my own personal server, because I've been doing all of this on my own. And honestly, this doesn't break the game. This just makes sure I don't waste a whole lot of my time trying to go back from point A to point B. So that is the first thing that we actually changed. We changed that true to a false. We're now able to teleport all over the place with any of our materials. Now let's go find some more people to kill, and you'll actually see how much more material they're dropping every time we kill them. All right, so I've run a little bit down the road from our teleporter. We're just a little bit south. We're coming up to another encampment, and now we're actually going to be able to see how much more material we're getting every time we kill one of these guys since we've increased that number. So let's go ahead and get to it, shall we? We're going to run up here. It looks like there's 4 or 5 guys over here maybe. Let's go ahead and kill them really, really quickly, see what they're going to have to offer. We'll go ahead and hit that dude. Let's go ahead and kill these 2 really fast. There we go. Come on over here, guys. I got a bone to pick with you, as it were. Let's go ahead and murder them. All right, murdering has occurred. Now, let's take a look at everything that dropped. Tainted Heart, 6. So this guy would have dropped 2 Tainted Hearts. Now he's dropping 6 Tainted Hearts. This guy would have dropped, maybe 3 or 4 scrolls. He's now dropping 12. So now we run over here and we can see that this guy actually dropped 6 scrolls. That means the base probably would have been, 2? And the other guy would have actually only dropped 4 scrolls. So it went from 4 to 12. This one went from 2 to 6 because we increased that multiplier, right, from 1 to 3. Same thing with the gem dust, right? This would have been 2 gem dust, but we're now actually getting 6 because we changed around that multiplier. So again, this is one of the things that changes quite a bit, even like the loot that's dropping out of all these different boxes. This would have been 3 fish oil, this would have been 3 scrolls. So again, if you just want to take out some of the grind of this game, especially later on when it takes a lot of time to get out and get these materials, these are something, again, that you can go back and change a little bit retroactively just to make sure that you don't waste as much time. It's something that I found personally pretty nice because as a streamer, I'm a really busy guy, and if I'm trying to get some of this offline work done sometimes where I want to keep it interesting for my community and I want to be able to kill bosses with, new equipment and everything like that, this takes out some of my workload and just expedites the process. Some people are going to enjoy that grind, other people aren't. So if they're finding that they're not enjoying it, at least they can now go into a previous save and make sure that they can change it without losing all of that progress they've already made. And I think that that's really important for a lot of people. So the last thing we're going to check here really fast, I'm going to run my butt back to my castle and we're going to see how much faster things are being made. All right, so I've run my butt back to my castle, and we're going to check out this loom really quick, because remember, we were making ghost yarn, and that ghost yarn was actually taking 2 minutes and 40 seconds every one that it was actually making. So we actually changed how quickly this is going to occur, correct? So I'm going to make my head small, we're going to click on this, and we're going to see how much that's changed. So right now, you can see already it's going much, much quicker. The halfway point means it only has 34 seconds left. So let's go ahead and take a look here really quick. Let's go ahead and watch this actually flip over. Now recall, earlier in the video, it was taking 2 minutes and 40 seconds per. When we went out and we changed that file, we changed it so that it was 2 instead of 1. So you can already tell that this is going to be a really, really, really big decrease in how much time you're actually going to take to wait for these things to happen. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. Insert materials to start crafting. So unfortunately, you can already see though exactly how much faster that's going to happen, right everybody? It was, 30 seconds to the halfway point. I thought we were good on that one. That's totally my fault, folks. Let's see if we have a little bit more thread. We don't, unfortunately. So we could even take a look here really fast for cotton. Like if we want to make more of that thread, we need cotton. And I know for a fact it's taking 36 seconds. Normally it takes a minute for each one of these. So you can see that it was already going much faster. All you need to do is go back in the video. You'll see that the amount of time it was taking to make one of these ghost yarns was obviously much higher. The halfway point was going to be, a minute and some odd seconds. And the halfway point when we came back was 36. So again, if you are feeling like everything is going a little bit too slow in V-Rising, don't restart, don't start a new server. Get in there, edit those settings. Don't lose your progress, don't waste any more of your time. Or again, if you want to make it harder, make it harder. Change whatever value you want. Just don't lose all that hard-earned progress that you've already made here in this game. It's a fantastic game. Not everyone has all the time in the world, and sometimes you're going to want to be able to go back and change these things around for the better or for the worse, depending on what you want. So that is it for this video. I hope you all learned something. If you did and you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer anything that you have. I hope to see you all back here soon. I'll definitely be putting more content out here in the very near future. Thank you all for coming, and I hope that you guys have a great time editing your servers at your leisure if you decide you need to. Cheers, have an awesome day. Thanks again. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Be sure to leave your comments below, like and subscribe, and we'll definitely see you again soon. A huge shout out to my Patreons who continue to make this possible.